Tuesdays, everyone. My name is Dr. Maria de Blasi, and I am a professor, writer, and bruja, and this is my Bruja's Guide to Tarot, in which I consult the tarot in order to heal our relationship to hope, joy, and pleasure in everyday life. So if you're a marginalized identity like myself, we often struggle to heal our relationship to happiness, to feel like we can experience and sustain that long term in everyday living. And that's partially because we've internalized a lot of systemic oppression and social oppression. We rarely see ourselves in narratives of happiness. And of course, we struggle with the general ups and downs of life, as do most people. Now, do you have to be a bruja or someone with a marginalized identity in order to get wisdom from my Bruja's Guide to Tarot? No, absolutely not. But you do need to be ready to have hope and be willing to heal and do the work you need to in order to heal and find that and be able to access that inner magic. As I always like to say, magic is a hard, gritty thing. So you can't have the sunflowers, like in the card here, without getting your hands dirty and working the soil. Which brings me to my first card of the year, which is my absolute favorite card in all of the tarot deck, the Queen of Wands. And she is always here to remind us that we are magical beings and that we, even when we feel like we've lost our connection to joy or happiness or magic, it's always within us. And I think that's such an incredibly beautiful card to start the year with, especially after everything we've been going through this past year. When it seems like a continual pile-on of trauma, nationally, internationally, within our own communities. So she's there to remind us that there's still joy to be found, there's still healing that can happen. And notice her radiant golden dress. She has this long staff which symbolizes masculine, extroverted energy going out into the world. And so she is radiating joy and healing into our communities. And also notice the beautiful sunflowers. She's saying, turn your attention to growth, to new life, to new possibilities. Take in the beautiful flowers and the sunlight that they represent, right? She's literally asking us to turn our face towards the light and not just sink into the stress and the intensity of what this past year has been. So she's very much an extroverted character. She is at home with herself, and as a result, she makes other people feel at home too. Now, the other thing I love about this, and this is part of why I love the Queen of Wands so much, is that she loves black cats. So let's take in that figure here. I too love black cats. My familiar is a black cat. And historically, black cats are considered bad luck. But the Queen of Wands doesn't care. She walks her own path. She just knows that she loves those animals and doesn't care what anyone else has to say about it. So she is very much a figure of not just being open and being open into the world and radiating positivity and joy, but she's also not afraid to be her own autonomous being, her own woman, and walk her own path, which includes making friends with the black cats in her life, right? So she's not afraid to buck against status quo, and yet she does it in such a way that she inspires others to walk their own path as well. Now, one last thing about her beautiful black cat there. Cats in folklore are traditionally creatures that walk between realms, right? They see the unseen things. They pick up supernatural energies or magical energies that we may not see ourselves, but they are well aware of, right? They walk between dimensions. So this is a sign that the Queen of Wands is not just at home in the world at large, the outer world, but she's one with her interior life, right? She clearly nourishes it, and she sees it just as valuable, if not more valuable, than the external world. She's at home in the seen and the unseen, the conscious and the unconscious, the dream world and the waking. So when this card appears in our life, she's asking us to turn our face to the sun, to remember that all hope is not lost, and that if we stay connected to ourselves and that internal life, that magic will radiate outward and create important change, both within our own lives and our communities. So that's all I have for you today on this week's Tarot Tuesday and my Bruja's Guide to Tarot. So I hope this medicine helps you as you navigate the first of the year. Thank you for listening, and as I always like to say, remember that true magic is in the everyday.